ran across a very interesting news article about Native Americans, or about people without Native American ancestry, claiming that they have Native American ancestry in order to receive government contracts that are specifically designated for people with Native American ancestry. This is very, very interesting to me, especially as we're having the talk about reparations. But I thought this was really, really interesting. Would you like to see it? I found video about the article. Would you like to see it? Oh, well, here it goes.
More than $300 million in contracts intended for minorities were awarded to members of self-described Cherokee groups that are considered illegitimate by federally recognized tribes. This is Ken Discombs, who also goes by the name of Gray Elk. He is chief of the Northern Cherokee Nation, and he is pictured here in the group's headquarters in rural Missouri. Gray Elk claims the Northern Cherokee Nation has thousands of members. Some have been awarded millions of dollars in government contracts reserved for disadvantaged Native Americans and members of other minority groups. Except that the Northern Cherokee Nation is not a recognized Native American tribe. Government records show ancestors of the members whose companies received contracts set aside for minorities were white.
You see why we don't like that term minority? You see that? They took that minority term and flipped it and took $300 million in contracts that was supposed to go to Native Americans and minorities.
They're taking something that was protected for people who really have been oppressed, and they're taking advantage of that.
Cherokee genealogists and other experts say unsubstantiated claims to being Native American are common. They typically are based on family stories, but some claims are politically charged. Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Democratic candidate for president, long asserted Cherokee ancestry based on family lore. She has since apologized for her claim.
Did they say Elizabeth Warren? Isn't she running for president? Isn't that the woman that Trump called Pocahontas? I'm just saying. So I think it was Tariq Nasheed. I heard about this book called The Killers of the Flower Moon. And this book goes into detail about a Native American family that had mineral rights. So there's land ownership and there's mineral rights, which is below the soil. The mineral rights could only be passed along by bloodline, right? As opposed to the land that could be sold, right? So what these white supremacists did was marry into their families, have children, and start picking them off one by one.
Under federal regulations, the government reserves contracts, typically for minority-owned firms, because the owners face social and economic disadvantages. Claiming to be Native American through membership in unrecognized Cherokee tribes has proved a lucrative way for some people with white ancestry to get into the programs. This is happening in government agencies from California to Texas to Washington, D.C. Two companies owned by members of the same family bagged about $180 million in contracts. One contractor has a famous family connection. His brother-in-law is House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Bill Wages got more than $7 million in federal contracts by getting certified into the SBA program. He belongs to the Northern Cherokee Nation, one of the self-described tribes. His contracts were for work in and around McCarthy's district. Wages and other contractors either insisted they had Cherokee heritage or did not respond to interview requests. How did the contractors get certified as Native Americans? ID cards from the unrecognized tribes, an inaccurate family tree, even outlandish tales of mystical powers. One contractor supposedly could divine the location of hidden Cherokee graves. All this with a big assist from a lack of government oversight. One government official did blow the whistle and got shut down. Sharon Teagle worked in Missouri's minority contracting program. She tried to stop a contractor who belonged to one of the unrecognized tribes from getting a minority certification. The SBA didn't listen.
The SBA basically wrote back and actually stated that they felt I had an issue with Native American tribes and their status, but that they didn't find anything legitimate to not certify them.
The Times reporting has triggered official investigations into the contracting programs. In St. Louis, authorities have moved to strip 5 contractors of their minority status. 4 of those decertifications are on hold pending the filing of a lawsuit. The SBA said it takes allegations of fraud seriously and refers such matters to its Inspector General's office.
Well. Where have I heard this before? It doesn't sound new to me. Where have I heard this before?
In the late 1800s, there was something called the Dawes Rolls, which was basically a census that made records of people's ethnic backgrounds in order to determine which Native American tribes would get certain land allotments and other benefits. After slavery, many black people were associated with some of these tribes by bloodline, through marriage, through adoption, and even servitude. And because they were associated with these tribes, many black people were entitled to some of these benefits. The government did not want blacks to get these benefits, so they created a separate freedmen's list specifically for black people. They also started to list any full-blooded Native American who had African features as black because they didn't want them getting those benefits either. At the same time, they allowed white citizens to come in and pay money under the table to be listed as part Native American.
1895, 1896, when a lot of the whites found out the benefits that these blacks are going to be entitled to, a lot of whites went to the Dawes Commission and say, look, why don't you put my name on there? They said, but you're not an Indian, so that's the way. Well, I'll give you $5. So the rule got around, the policy got around that for $5, that a white could put his name on the Dawes rolls and be called himself an Indian and be entitled to all these benefits, and all their children could be entitled to all these benefits forever. And so that became known as what's called a $5 Indian. And so if you go around now and check most of the Indians, the so-called Indians in America, about 90% of them are not even Indians. Those are just whites now who are passing as Indians, but they're getting all the benefits. And they're not paying any taxes, getting free college education. They put up a little reservation on the land that they don't live on. They have another home off and get all kind of benefits.
Iron Eyes Cody was another famous Native American person. He was in the media for years. In the 1970s, they utilized him for this pollution commercial. He was known as the Crying Indian. So he was a very well-known Native American in American culture. But the reality is, Iron Eyes Cody wasn't Native American at all. He was Sicilian. Both of his parents were from Sicily. So he didn't have one drop of Native American blood in him. He was another fake Indian.
From what I hear, this ain't even nothing new.
The hardest part I've seen in my fight, and I'm the chief of the tribe, is when you come up against people of color as well as European descent, and you say Indians, they're looking for the Bill Cody, Long Ranger Tonto style thing. And when you actually show them that the indigenous people were actually my color, as I have a habit telling people, a cocoa brown, or a brown piece of leather well put together. I have a lot of ways of using slangs to tell people that we are still here because we were not weak. We were here before DeSoto and Christopher Columbus. You have to be strong to make it through those disasters. How far back you think they've been stealing our color and race? And do you think they're going to give the real people back their race? No. That's something we have to stand up. We have been allowing, like I was telling you before the show started, we have allowed people to make us accept things. When the Europeans have come here, whatever they don't like, they write a law. And they stick together and they push it through.
Family, this is why our elders have been telling us to hold on to our culture. And I mean like our music, jazz and rock and roll and hip hop. Because, and I'm even going to throw in there reggae and soca. This is why they've been telling us to hold on to our culture, because you see how they have totally transformed what a Native American is in your mind and in the world's mind on what a Native American looks like. Look at Chief Warsaw. She looks like you and me. You understand what I'm saying? So it's our elders are coming from a place of wisdom, a place of where they have seen this before. They're not telling us to exclude other people because they want us to be mean. They're telling us that be careful of other people coming in, rewriting your culture and removing you from it, rebranding it, and it looks nothing like you, nothing like the person or the people that created it. So I'm not gonna let you forget about Elizabeth Warren. So question, how much money and benefits did Elizabeth Warren and her family receive claiming a Native American heritage for all these years? Just a question. Anyway, so how dare you tell us whether we can and cannot give reparations when you running around here trying to receive unearned benefits and clout as a Native American, knowing damn well you not.
Senator Warren, what about reparations? Senator Warren, what about reparations?
I did it from the beginning.
Okay.
Senator Warren,
you gonna cut a check? Mr. Senator Warren, you gonna cut a check? Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a check? Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a check?
1, 2, 3.
Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a check?
Okay,
Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a check?
Can I get a picture, Senator Warren? Senator Warren.